you were really out there getting exposed to the elements. And it seems like when you have, for listeners out there, when you have folks that are trying to train for special operations and they haven't necessarily been out in the elements before, it's tough for them to adjust, whether it be something like land nav at SFAS or just being out in the water. You know, you had been exposed to this as a kid and kind of grew up with this. Would that be safe to say?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, I look back on how my dad raised me. So, you know, it rains a lot in Washington State. And so his big deal was you had to always be able to start a fire. And it'd be raining and he'd give me a match. 6, 7, 8 years old, I might have been 5% get the fire going. But about 9, I figured out the formula, and then I always got the fire going, right? But it would be pouring down rain Saturday morning. He'd be like, hey, man, go outside and play. And there wasn't no such thing as saying, no, I'm not, it's raining. No. Like, if he said go outside and play, you went outside and played, because the next thing that would happen, he'd break your TV, or, you know, like he cut my video game console in half with a chainsaw because I made the statement that I paid for half of it. So he
So your dad was hard on you. Would it be safe to say, Jake?
I
He
wouldn't
tough.
say
He tough.
hard. I tell people, man, I didn't grow up like everybody else. Like, hard work was a facet of my, like, and when he told me to go outside and play, I knew I couldn't come inside. You weren't allowed to come back in the house until 5 o'clock. So, you know, I could come in and get something to eat, or maybe if I had to go number 2, I could come in and use the bathroom. But we had a bathroom in the basement. And like, if I came in the house and was in there for more than 5 minutes, he's like, what are you doing? You know, and I just think that's his way of not letting you sit there and watch TV all day and do all that non-productive stuff, you know, because we did a ton of great stuff. Like, we built a water wheel in my yard. He's an engineer in college. He ended up being a truck driver, but I mean, he had straight A's for 7 semesters of engineering at University of Washington. So we built awesome stuff in my yard, like a water wheel that pumped water to a tank that watered our yard. You know, we did all sorts of building stuff. So that's why I learned a whole bunch of really good skills for special forces. I was in orienteering early, you know, land nav. Like, I used to laugh at land nav because I'd be like, look, man, I'm in the woods. I know how to get to where I gotta go. Where do you need me to go? Okay, I'm there. So, you know, just different, man. I don't know if it's hard because you grow up in it, right? Like, he wasn't mean. Like, he was a great dad. He wasn't like he was a dick all the time, or he was grinding my face in doing a bunch of stuff. We just had work to do, you know? Like, another chore that's just, I was at home. I had to go home and get my mom December, and I was out in the front yard, and used to be like a 270-foot rock wall that was 6 feet high. And he had the dump truck dump all the rocks in the back, in our driveway, which is in the back of our house. And every day I had to take 5 wheelbarrow loads down to the front. But I was like 10, 11, and I could only put a couple rocks in the wheelbarrow, it would tip over. So the first day I rolled 5 wheelbarrows and 2 rocks down there. And he came home from work, and he'd been working all day driving a cement truck. And he laid those, you know, maybe I had 15 rocks down there. He laid those rocks on the rock wall. And then I heard my name, he yelled, and I came down there, and he said, what are you doing, man? And I said, what do you mean? He said, where are my 5 wheelbarrow fulls of rocks? And I was like, Dad, like, that's 5 wheelbarrow goes. He said, no, I need 5 full effing wheelbarrows. He was like, I don't care if you can only carry 2 rocks down here. I'm going to lay rock for 1 hour after work every day until this rock wall is done. I better have 5 wheelbarrows. So it went from, you know, like a 30-minute chore to like a 2.5-hour chore to make sure that I got enough rocks down there. And then, I mean, that was almost all summer. Like, it took him, it was 6 feet high, 270 foot long rock wall, right? And so he built the whole thing, set every rock in there. But like, that's a chore that, like, I woke up in the morning, I look at my chore list, it'd be on there, 5 wheelbarrows of rocks. Now, there might be some other stuff on there, but, you know, he never shied away from hard work. And he had no problem telling me to go do something, even if it was going to take a long time to do, you know?